Hey guys, Joshua Suzanne here, back at Rags-A-GoGo, and if you saw the very first episode, I was describing what I do here at Rags-A-GoGo, my street fashion vintage, and I also talked about, what is the difference between secondhand thrift, vintage, and antique clothing? Well, it has to do with years, you guys. Secondhand or thrift is year 1 to year 20. Day 1 to year 20 is going to be secondhand or thrift. This is secondhand or thrift. How do I know this? Well, one of the dead giveaways is the fact that it has a date on it. So right here is 2012. Not vintage yet because it's not 20 years old, guys. We're only 2019. So this is 5 years old, which puts it in the category of secondhand thrift. Next to it is a Carhartt. How do I know that this is vintage? Well, first of all, you got to look at the structure of the jacket. There's a bunch of things that are giving this away. Once again, though, we're going to look at a tag, and we're going to take a close look at this. I'm looking at this tag here. Now, first generation, made in the USA Carhartt is going to go this way. Second generation goes down. How do I know this is second generation? Well, hey, I'm going to turn it over right here. It's going to say, made in the USA, right? And it's union made at the same time. Very proud of the unions that are making these jackets, so they stamp it right there. So that's it. Made in the USA, union made, dead giveaway that this is vintage, made in the USA. This is at least 20 years and then some, this jacket right here. Made to last, you guys. These guys are made to last forever. Carhartt's a very good company. Over here, what do we have here? So we have an antique. Now let's get back to this for 2 seconds, the Carhartt. Now I said vintage, right? So what did I say? Has to be 20 years, right? But where's the cutoff? 20 years to what? It's 20 to 75 years old is vintage. Anything over 75 years old, right here, you guys, jacket, World War II. That's over 75 years ago, this jacket. This is the beginning of World War II right here. So do the math, you guys. Calculate. This is going to be over 75 years old, which makes this antique clothing. If you ever watch the Antique Roadshow, you're going to notice there's a bit of a difference when it comes to furniture. So this is it right here. Furniture follows pretty much the same thing, only the words are a little different. So, not secondhand, they'll call it retro, okay, in furniture. So furniture goes from 1 to 20. 20 to 100 on furniture, and then 100 years and older is going to be antique. So if you've heard furniture talked that way, that's because that applies to furniture. Clothing, we give a little bit more room, so we say 75 years, it's now antique. There it is, you guys. Here's the difference once again. We got secondhand thrift, less than 20 years, vintage, 20 to 75 years, and then antique. By the way, vintage, vin is 20 in French. Vintage is 20-something. How about that? There you go. So vintage clothing, vin, 20. Now you know the difference. So when you come to Rags-A-GoGo, I hope you're able to walk around the store, take a look at clothing, look at the tags, and go, hey, I know that's vintage. I know that's secondhand. And wow, I just found an antique piece of clothing. All right, guys, we'll see you here at Rags.